y'all? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. How's it going? What's up? So I look like this, not by choice. I just left the gym. And I'm heading to a friend's to have dinner. So anyways, hi, thanks for hanging out with me. Welcome to Car Vibes. I'm Jasmine. If you are new, welcome. If you are not, welcome back. If you are new and we're not friends, let's just be friends. Let's hang out. Essentially, all Car Vibes is me just talking, sharing some thoughts, sharing some perspective, sharing topics that people share with me, just hanging out in my car. I love driving, and so I feel like it's a good place for me to just kind of think and just tune out all of the other like random cares of the world. So that's essentially Car Vibes. I could go on and on. So if we're not friends, why not? Let's be friends. I'm a friendly person. Don't forget, hit the like button and the subscribe button just below the screen. And also make sure you turn your notifications. Turn on your notifications so that you get a notification every time that I upload a new video. If you don't know how to do that, you just hit the bell icon that is on the screen and you'll get a ring-a-ding-ding bars every time that I post a new video. So today's Car Vibes is honestly me just kind of getting on here and talking and chatting. I am going to write a blog about this, but I will dig into it a little bit here as well. So I just got back from Chicago a couple days ago, and I went for a week. So I was there last Monday and I got back literally yesterday morning. Chicago's like my favorite place in the world to date. I've only been out of the country one time, so I can strongly say that that may not be the case once I travel a little bit more outside of the country. But every year I go to Chicago, and honestly this year I was kind of on the fence about going. So for the past, I've probably been about 5 or 6 times. The first few times I went was with family. The past 3 times that I've been to Chicago, I've gone to this conference. And it's a conference held at a Bible college there downtown. And so considering that Chicago is my favorite city, it made it that much easier for me to just go and just be a part of the conference. It's for 2 days and it's really cool. So I'll actually link the conference below in the description box if you want some information to go next year. They have a couple locations: Chicago, Houston, and I think Los Angeles too. This is not sponsored, I'm just talking. So I was on the fence honestly about going to the conference this year because all of my friends that I normally go with weren't able to go. The 2 main friends of mine that I would go with, they both literally moved out of the state. One moved to Chicago, but because she started a new job, she wasn't able to really go to the conference like that. And so I wasn't going to go to the conference, and it was kind of like January, and God had been kind of sharing with me some things to what I believe he had been sharing with me regarding just some things regarding my future and different things like that. And honestly, 2018 has been such a year of stretching and developing, and I'll get into that in another video. But it was kind of, I was on the fence about going, and so I wasn't going to go to this conference. And honestly, it was kind of like he just told me one day, you need to go to the conference. And so in my mind, as much as I didn't want to admit it, I felt like, okay, so obviously this means that you're going to do this, this, and this at the conference. Obviously, whatever. And because I'm a big planner, I have a bad habit of wanting to be trying to plan everything out and step by step my life and really try to understand, because literally this year I think has been the most, I really have no idea what's going on year of my life. I truly have no idea. I don't really know what's going on. I don't have answers for people. When people ask me, I truly don't have answers. I really don't. And it's really frustrated me, but that is God kind of working me out of that mentality and that mindset. So with this conference, I'm like, oh, okay, well, obviously this, and this is going to happen there. Okay, no big deal. But then I thought, maybe I won't go. And so one thing that I will say is that if you feel like God has told you to do something, or God is sharing something with you, or sharing his heart with you, he will provide an avenue for you to do so. He will provide a way for you to do whatever it is that he needs you to do. He's not going to tell you to do something and then have you just out here confused and lost. He's going to walk you step by step through the process. For example, during trying to figure this out, Chicago, I'm like, oh my gosh, hotels, where am I going to stay? What am I going to do? Whatever. And one of my good friends, and honestly, we would kind of miss each other a lot over the past couple of years, but we truly got close in the better half of the year. I found out that she was moving there for a job, and nobody knew about it. It was very under wraps, and it was so interesting because it was so funny because I said, hey, God told me to do this, this, and this. And she said, it's so funny because I'm going to school there in the fall. I'm moving there in late spring, early summer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so crazy. But that just shows that God was already ahead of it, which meant to me, like, okay, no, he really did tell me to go. So months and months pass. I'm really struggling with some things as far as, okay, what does this look like? What does that look like? Whatever. And funny enough, people would ask me, hey, what are you doing? What are your thoughts about this? What are some next steps? What are your plans for this? How long are you going to be doing this? What do you think about this? And I can never provide an answer. In the back of my mind, however, I had used this conference in Chicago kind of as a checkpoint to say, okay, well, once I get back from Chicago, then I'll have answers. Once I get back from Chicago, then I'll know. Then I'll be able to explain. Then I'll have a little bit more information. And so I developed this timeline in my mind and an agenda in my mind of what was going to take place upon my return from Chicago. So fast forward to last Monday, I'm going. I was really praying and asking the Lord to help me to not have any real agendas, even though in my heart I knew I had one. And so, long story short, at the conference, I was there by myself because, again, my friends had to work or they weren't able to go. And it was so... I was looking over my shoulder. I was very self-conscious. I was very insecure. Because I was thinking, okay, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Is this going to happen? And it was so frustrating to me because it distracted me from worship. It distracted me from truly reaching out to God and crying out to God and focusing on Him during like our worship sessions or our, small group sessions, workshops, all of those things. And I was so frustrated that I was so distracted. I was just so distracted the majority of the time there during this conference, and it began to kind of freaked me out a little bit. It was almost kind of like I felt like I had like a light shining on me, if that makes sense. And I was super vulnerable, and it was just the weirdest thing. Unfortunately, when you have friends that are also believers and that are mentors and that love you and that are always interceding for you, when I talked to my friend about it, she was telling me, honestly, you were very distracted. And I think God was opening your eyes to show you how distracted you were, and maybe even acknowledge that you have made your plans an idol, or this situation that you believe He has shared with you an idol, and all of these things. And I really took it really, really hard. I found myself, I condemned myself. I said, wow, I can't believe I'm the worst, right? And it wasn't like, I can't explain the words, but I'd sincerely kind of written myself off, if that makes sense. As if God doesn't forgive us all the time, or God doesn't know who we are all the time. Like He didn't know that we were going to make mistakes when He created us, right? And so I was so frustrated, and I was really upset, but I think the powerful thing behind that is the grace and understanding and appreciating that God will open our eyes to see ourselves as a means of showing us how He's planning to heal us. Does that make sense? If He opens up our eyes to show gluttony, that is because He plans to heal us of gluttony. But He shows it to us so that we can surrender, because He's not going to just take it from us without us surrendering, if that makes sense. And so for me, it was a tough pill to swallow. Anytime that I hear of somebody making something an idol, because biblically, when they would worship idols, right? They would worship these statues and these figures and the trees and the woods and everything else. But I think now, in this day and age, there's so many other opportunities to create idols. It's even that much easier, honestly, to create idols. And so I found myself so incredibly frustrated and feeling like a failure and feeling like I had let God down, and I really had just dropped the ball. But it wasn't like my ball to drop, right? Like it wasn't, the point was just to acknowledge it so that He could heal it. And so I really had to be honest and say, hey, no, I had an agenda coming here. I did. I had a plan coming here. I had all of these things, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't a fun reality because I didn't want that to be the case. It is something I've been struggling with for a while. But I will say that I'm thankful that God loves me enough to not let me remain where I am, to not let me stay there, to not let me stay in that place and in that mindset, to break me of those things. It's kind of like a maturing moment where God is like, okay, I can trust you to show you you so that I can truly develop that aspect of you, if that makes sense. And that is hard. It's not fun. It's not easy. I definitely had to just kind of refocus and recenter myself, and God forgave, right? He always forgives if we genuinely ask within our heart for him to forgive us. But it was still challenging. It was still, hard. And here I am back home. Chicago was amazing, right? The trip was awesome. I mean, even aside from all of that, I still had an amazing time, an incredible time. It was so fun. But even being back home, I'm back to, okay, so I seriously don't have any plans. I really don't. I have multiple people sharing different aspects of what they think would be good for me. But at the end of the day, I always circle back to, okay, God, but what do you want me to do? And I really don't know. I don't know. I feel like I know what a there looks like. But how to get there, couldn't tell you. But I say all of that just to say that, you're never too far from God to bring you back into his arms, right? To wrap you in his arms, to love you. And keep that in mind and remember that. I know if you're a complainer and kind of a control freak like me, it's easy to get lost in the space of, I need to understand, I need to know right now. And that's not a fun lesson to learn, but it's necessary if we truly are going to surrender to the plans that God has for us, and to know that he doesn't need our help, right? Like he's got it. We're good. He's good. We need to just sit tight until he tells us what to do, but also to do the last thing that he told us to do. To recall the last thing that he's shared with us, or the last thing he's impressed on us. That is so key and so important. And so it really opened my eyes of things that I've not been doing. YouTubing, blogging, my why, working out consistently, managing my finances, taking and supporting my relationships, all of this, just so many things. But I'm thankful for that time. I'm thankful for those eye-opening moments and those experiences. It's truly been incredible, and I'm not really sure what the second half of 2017 looks like. I really don't know. I mean, 2018. I'm not sure. But he knows, and that's all that matters. So, there's me. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's a little bit longer than usual. I normally don't like to make videos this long, but I wanted to share my heart with you all, so thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, just so that we can reach more people in the body of Christ, of course, because it's not about me, it's about him, and ultimately just continuing to love on people and all of that thing. So subscribe. I'd love to be your friend. Comment down below, follow me on social media, hang out with me, let's interact. And ooh, I almost ran over a little cat. Sorry. And yeah, so love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.